Say one more thing. Make sure it's going.
Testing.
Beautiful. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and ravers, electronic music lovers alike, welcome to the Eastbound Dialog. This is a podcast I love doing because it gives me a really cool opportunity to go to a lot of different venues in the Orlando area and also talk with a lot of different people really active in the scene. Today I have a privilege of talking with someone that's been in the scene about as long as I have and has definitely blown up way more than I ever will. With me today is going to be Mr. Space Lover. How you doing today, man?
It's good, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. It's so much fun to do these kinds of things. I got a lot of demand actually for the interview with you. It's been a crazy ride.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So I've been seeing you, because I talk about all the events. I've been seeing you performing a lot in the electronic scene lately. So like, what's happened? Like, you've been exploding a little bit.
I try not to think anything of it. I don't see it as that's my goal of just blowing up. I'm just out here just putting out music, trying to put out a certain type of music that hasn't been in this community for a while, or that's not being played a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I finally kind of developed my role as, now I'm getting more into melodic house. I was testing different subgenres, and I've been, fond of so many music genres, not just house music, techno, but ever since I got introduced to this community by a couple of my friends, and honestly, it started at Elixir last year, just before the pandemic, mm-hmm. and then we had the shutdown, and then at that time, it was just basically counting down to when everything would reopen. There wasn't a single Taco Tuesday that I didn't go to last year, so I have a lot of friends that could attest to that. So
that was kind of your start, was going out for Taco Tuesday.
Kind of just the rest is history from there.
Yeah, man, I feel like that's where we all start, and then we all do our own thing. It's really cool because, it's crazy that when you're at those kinds of events, you never know who's going to get inspired, and then, within the next year, it's going to start, doing a lot more and all of that. So, how long have you been DJing now in the Orlando area?
Officially, the first time that I got behind the decks for an actual set was, I believe, in February, and that was at Chillers. So, almost 6 months now. Almost.
Okay. And that's that's insane, man. What was so in that 6 months, what's been your favorite venue to play at? What's been the craziest thing you've gone to?
It's kind of hard to say, but just because it's more of how should I say? There's a little emotional attachment with playing at Chillers, just because that was my first time playing there. Okay. And every time I play there, you get introduced to so many different people, because Chillers is the longest active bar in downtown Orlando. Well, one of the most. I can't officially say that. I'll probably have to do a little bit more research for that. But they've been around for a long time. So being able to play there, it's pretty grateful for that.
It's an experience, yeah. Especially because if that's where you started, there's a lot of sentimentality to
definitely.
that and all that.
That's the word.
yeah, sentimentality.
I was looking for it.
Yeah, I'm the word guy. So I know that you just came off a really cool performance over at that thing All Access Crew did, Project USA. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, Project USA. So it was, to me, it felt like kind of like a sequel to Project SB. We had some complications with the first one, but they had a redo. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play at the second redo, so I was definitely hyped to play at Project USA. So basically what Project USA was the first couple of DJs, they were playing mostly top 40 Latin hip-hop, and then after that, we had 2 house DJs, and then I had a set at 3 a.m. So I had invited as many people as I could, a lot of people that have been following me and supporting me. Honestly, I can honestly say that was the set that I had the most people show up for my set, like specifically. And then on top of that, we had a lot of people from All Access Crew, because they're running things over there at UCF. So it was a pretty big crowd. Okay. And it was kind of hard to, you never know what crowd you're going to have.
Yeah. And
that's why I totally believe in having curated sets versus open format. Everybody is different. So I did have a curated set for that. It wasn't just I'm just playing whatever.
Okay. So would you say you have kind of like from coming off of that, would you say you have a little more of like a adapted stage presence?
Yeah. So I think it was just being able to play in a bigger crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made me more comfortable, more confident in playing. What's the next set? What's the next show that I can play for that's going to be even bigger?
Yeah.
So it kind of gave me a little taste of what it's like to play in front of a bigger crowd.
Cool. Yeah, man. And I feel like that has to be like an unimaginable experience. Like
Yeah,
being in front of that, and like you're the guide in all of it. So what would you say? I mean, you said that you do you're doing a lot of melodic house, and you want to bring something to the Orlando scene that no one's ever really seen. So what would you say is your secret sauce to your sets and your music?
The secret sauce, there's so much that goes into it. One thing that I try to stay consistent with my sets and what goes into it is once I discover one new song or I rediscover another song, especially when I'm just going through, I'm just shuffling all my music. Anytime I just let's just put it on shuffle, see what I can come up with. And that's kind of where it starts. That's the origin.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll go to a show and I'll hear a certain sound or song, and then I focus all my attention on that one song, and then what other songs are like it? What other songs sound like it?
And kind of go with it.
Exactly.
Basically.
Like Apple, SoundCloud, you create a station,
mm-hmm.
and then next thing you know, you have so much new songs being discovered, and then after that, it's just organizing, syncing, making sure that these two songs sound together.
Yeah.
And then going through it, running a mix.
Have you ever
hearing over?
Yeah. Have you ever had like a perfect pair of songs that you've mixed?
Yeah, it's man, I think any DJ can attest to this when you go through two songs that it just happens to blend in so well, and you're just like, sometimes you're praying all right, please let this next drop be good, and then it works out, and it's magic, man.
It's gotta be fantastic. Yeah. That's amazing, man. So where do you take, in the scene, who do you kind of look up to?
It's kind of hard to say who exactly I look up to. I would say there's a lot of people that's had an impact and some kind of inspiration for me.
Okay.
But people I definitely have to give a shout out to this dude because he's been there for me since day one, which is Diego. Diego Nocturnal Sounds. We just crossed paths, one day. It was at an after party, and then from there, we didn't exactly, stay connected as much, and then little by little we started to get to know each other. And what he's done with his community to me, it's inspiration because he's done something that I can't recall anybody else doing, which is bringing so many groups together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so many groups are collaborating with each other, so many DJs.
Yeah.
Being able to flip and give so many opportunities to multiple DJs. So I would definitely have to say him. Another person I probably have to look up to in this community is, these venue owners. People like, Core Concepts, the previous owners, which was, I can't recall the name, but they're basically the ones that started Celine, Robinson. If you look around, there's plenty of examples of what you want to be like and what you don't want to be like. You just got to pay attention.
Mm-hmm. And that's insane, man. That's so true. That's really, really true.
Yeah.
So of course, this is always a really fun question. So if you had a dream B2B, who would that dream B2B be you?
I was waiting to I was trying to think of the best answer for this because with Melodic, it's so hard to go back to back specifically with somebody because unless you run through with it, prior to a set, it's kind of hard to blend two songs. But if I had to be playing with anybody that I could possibly play back to back with, it would probably be Lane 8.
Lane 8?
Yeah, hands down.
Oh my god, dude, that is a name that I have not gotten yet. He is a fantastic artist, and especially with the melodic and all that. Yeah, I can really see that. And so if you were in a position that you were actually doing a B2B with Lane 8, you're on, I don't know, you're at Red Rocks, you're doing a B2B set with him, how would you think, if you got to that professional position, how would you think your music complement his music, and how would you think you guys would work together? What do you think you would bring to the table in that kind of set?
Yeah, definitely. So during the pandemic and even before that, I discovered him a couple years ago, and how it will complement it is just, again with the melodic, everything is just based off of that, because these sounds, the way we melodic DJs mix, it's based in chorus parts. We try not to have too much, one song playing too long, and you're making sure that it's just matching, based on chorus beats. You're building, breaking down, and it sounds that it's not just melodic, but it's different. It's unique.
Okay.
You'll never hear, I won't say you never hear, but 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a different beat. It's gonna have a different sound, and that's why I think it will complement his music.
It would bring just a very unique.
Yeah, it's always different. It might have the same, drum and bass, drum and kick, but as far as the percussions, the vocals, it's always different, dude.
Okay, that's amazing. That's really cool. So, and here's generally where I go from here. So I can tell, or where in electronic music do you get your inspiration from?
Everywhere and anywhere.
Okay.
I get it from so many places. I get it from listening to music on my phone when I'm at the gym. I'm shuffling when I go to shows. It gives me so many ideas when I'm out supporting other DJs. There's so many ways for me to get, so many ideas, sparking the creativity.
Yeah. Do you
I get a little bit from everywhere.
Okay. Do you lean toward any subgenre a little bit, or any sort of artists?
I was leaning a lot towards regular house for a little bit, and then I kind of just dialed down back to the roots of what, I never really thought about melodic in a sense where it's upbeat. So I'm trying to introduce melodic house to where it's not just something that'll put you to sleep. It's something that you can dance to.
It's something that's it's uplifting.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you look at it a sense where, this is too quiet or it's too settling, I'm trying to put my own spin to it where it's gonna make you dance. That's what I want. That's the whole goal.
It's a cool goal.
Yeah.
And I think if you keep working at it, that it would really bring something cool to the Orlando scene, especially if you're getting uplifting melodic. Because we get so much tech house and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
What about outside of electronic music? What kind of genres do you generally listen to? I always like to understand an artist not just in the realm of just electronic music, but as a musician as a whole.
Yeah. So previously, before I even got into house and techno, I was always into EDM for since 2009. When I first got into the military and I went to California for the first time, that was my first experience with EDM music in general.
Yeah.
And then going to festivals. But even before all that, before I got into EDM, it was alternative, it was punk rock, artists like Blink 182, Fall Out Boy, All American Rejects. I was a little punk kid growing up in high school. And I was also a singer too, so I felt like eventually I was going to get back to melodic to where I'm going to be able to use that background.
And kind of and add the alternative elements to it. Blink 182 is actually my favorite band, so hell yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all right, just to finish it off, where do you see the future of Space Lover and the future of your music career and where everything's been leading you so far?
I don't want to rush to things too much right now because I feel like there's still so much to learn, not just from myself, but definitely from others, people who have been in this game a lot longer. So I'm making sure I don't, sink before I start swimming.
Yeah.
So I was originally going to get into producing this past spring, but I put a pause on it because when I first got onto Ableton, it was a whole new world. There's a lot to learn on Ableton. It's not just DJing. You actually got to know what sound you want to create. Do you want to use samples on the computer?
Mm-hmm.
And so the future right now is focusing on what kind of sound I want to produce, what kind of set I want to have, where I want to play, and then based off of that, I start producing.
Okay.
So definitely the next step is definitely producing.
Definitely the next step is producing, yeah. And it's crazy because you guys basically, when you jump onto Ableton or FL Studio, you create your own sound. It's like you have an instrument, but you have to choose exactly what sound comes out of it, which is, I think it's a really cool part of producing. And yeah, man, if you can master it, it'll be really exciting. I think some of Space Lover originals would be perfect for your sets. I love it.
I think it's just a huge element because I get told this, time after time, unless you're producing, don't count on, opening up for major artists.
Yeah.
So it is how should I say, a harsh reality sometimes, but honest, if you want to get big into this industry, playing other people's music can only last so long. And I know I can't be too hard on myself because, again, I just started DJing, so that's kind of why I'm taking my time with everything. But to me, I don't believe in timelines. If you're ready when you're ready.
Yeah. And
I don't put a timeline on anything.
And I gotta respect that, man. I mean, the fact that you don't want to rush into it, you want to take your time, do it well. Make sure you're learning everything the right way, and so you can actually build yourself up. That is insanely respectable.
Yeah.
As opposed to just rushing into it and producing nothing. So yeah, man. All right, well, this has been the Eastbound Dialogue. This is a really cool rendition of this. This is my first time ever doing it at McQueen's. You'll definitely see some more from this, and I hope you see a lot more of Space Lover. Are you doing any performances this week, next week?
There's nothing concrete yet in the next 2 weeks, but right now I'm focusing more on trying to get shows set up outside of Orlando.
Okay.
I don't know how long I'm going to be in Orlando. I actually move every 2 years, so I'm kind of playing it by ear if I want to continue playing here. So trying to do as much as I can, make an impact here, so that way I can set myself up to go other places.
And we're enjoying every freaking moment of it. So thank you for thanks for coming, man. For real,
appreciate having you.
It's such an opportunity to interview so many cool artists, especially people like you who are still starting up. Because I feel like we kind of started at the same time, so it's really exciting.
Right there, man.
Yeah, man. All right, well, this has been the Eastbound Dialogue. Thanks for listening. If you want to keep up with everything going on in the electronic scene, you already know what to do. Go to Eastern Electronic, give it a follow, and thank you.